The Sugar Bowl is about to be a cinematic experience. You got Georgia, you got Notre Dame, you got the backdrop of the Superdome. You got Gunner Stockton, quarterback in Georgia in relief of Carson Beck. You got Riley Leonard, quarterback in Notre Dame, the biggest stage of his entire college career. What can you expect from both guys? What do you need from both guys if you're a Georgia fan or Notre Dame fan? We'll talk about all that right now, but first things first, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We will have reaction for you to all of the college football playoff games going on. This show and this channel is college football, nothing but college football year-round. We want you dialed in. The best way to be dialed in by making sure you're subscribed. This show is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Okay, so we got some squares for you in this game for both quarterbacks that we like. We'll talk about those in a second. But when you use code HARDCOUNT, $5 in lineups gets you $50 in promo funds. So just for playing that $5 lineup, it could be both these squares we're about to talk about right now, you get $50 in promo. All right, so code HARDCOUNT at prizepicks.com. A great way to get rolling. Also a great way for the folks at PrizePicks to know that you're dialed into the show and being a college football sicko. So let's start with Gunner Stockton. He's going to be the quarterback for Georgia. Carson Beck will not be playing in this game. I think what you need from him is just to be the spark that fans into the flame, to put it simply. Like, Gunner Stockton does not have to put the Georgia football team on his back for them to win this football game. I think what you need from him is him to play to his strengths. His strengths are what he does on the ground running the football. His strengths are also what he brings to the table emotionally. Put a pin in that for a second. Put yourself back into where you were watching the SEC title game when Carson Beck goes out of the game. Georgia's down, entering Gunner Stockton. Georgia fights tooth and nail with a little bit more urgency, it looked like, to beat Texas to win the SEC. I'm not telling you that Gunner Stockton was the end-all, be-all reason why they won that football game. But I do think it's worth noting, when he entered into the ball game, there was a different energy level from Georgia. Now, some of that might have been survival of, hey, we got our rally behind our backup quarterback right now to, go win the SEC and check that goal off the list. Some of it might have been Gunner Stockton, just from what I can gauge from watching the guy play ball, has got a little bit extra fire to him that teammates probably respond to. I think it might be a combination of all that. But if I'm Gunner Stockton, I lean into that. Like, I'm not walking out there trying to be Carson Beck, trying to be the cool, calm, collected, poised guy. Like, I'm leaning into the elements of who make me, me. Like, and that sounds a little bit cliche to say out loud, but I think it's 100% the case. Like, Gunner Stockton having his head knocked clean off by Andrew Makuba as he scrambles for a first down. You can't tell me that didn't give some juice to that Georgia sideline, seeing him pop up. And tell me that didn't get his teammates a little bit more extra edge that following play to go out and win the football game. Like, I think, I'm not suggesting Gunner Stockton keep the chin strap loose, but I am saying, let's see that fire, see that emotion, play within yourself, and bring that extra juice that, quite frankly, will get your teammates riled up and brings more to the table. So that, paired with what he does running the football, I think is going to be the Gunner Stockton formula for Georgia. He's not Carson Beck, like I already mentioned, but he also has more mobility than Carson Beck. Like, I think you're going to see some read option game, going to see some quarterback design runs. So schematically for him, the request, if you're Mike Bobo, is like, just be a threat with your legs. I don't need you going for 100 yards on the ground. Don't need you going for 50 yards on the ground. What I need you to do is be a counterpunch to Etienne and Frazier on the ground. Keep that Notre Dame second level guessing a little bit with who has the football. Make them at least think about you when it comes to that third and second kind of situation. And then also be able to get us out of negative plays into a neutral situation where, hey, you got out of a sack, threw it away. Or, better yet, get out of a negative play, make it a positive play. And again, I'm not trying to dunk on Carson Beck here, but like, Gunner Stockton is just a different athlete behind center. We saw that in the game against Texas. So, when it comes to the prize pick square that I like for Gunner Stockton in relief of Carson Beck, his rush yard total is set at 12.5 yards. I think it will be more. I think it needs to be more for Georgia to win the football game. So the pass rush of Notre Dame maybe makes you feel some type of way about this number because you factor that into the rushing yards for Gunner Stockton. If they sack him once or twice, we'll see what happens there with that total. But I feel good taking the more there with Gunner Stockton on prize picks for the 12.5 rush yards. So that's Gunner Stockton. Again, be the spark, fan the flame. You don't have to be the reason, but you do have to be a part of the solution, be part of the reason as to why Georgia wins this football game, if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan. Now, if Notre Dame wants to win the football game, it's a little bit more Riley Leonard-centric for me when it comes to that discussion. I don't think you need to be the only reason, but I do think you need to be the reason why Notre Dame wins this game. And the best exercise I can use to express why I feel this way is like if you were to tell me Gunner Stockton and Riley Leonard have the same exact stat line coming out of this thing. Riley Leonard goes for 200 yards, 15 for 20, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Same deal with Gunner Stockton. Georgia probably wins that game by a touchdown, 10 points. And that's not saying anything of Riley Leonard. I think it says more just about what Kirby Smart has built in Athens, Georgia. Like, I don't think we're having any SEC bias in this conversation. Like, it just is won 2 of the last 3 national championships. Like, what do you want me to say? The guy's built a pretty solid roster stacked with 5 stars, and they've got that certain pedigree to them. So for Riley Leonard, I need you to make our offense two-dimensional against Georgia. Like, if you're a situation where you can't push the ball vertical, one, you handcuff yourself because you can't take advantage of some of your best players and, quite frankly, the most gettable part of Georgia's defense. And then, more importantly, you play into the strength of the Georgia defense, which is that front 7 that got after Quinn Ewers and Texas in 2 games with a really experienced offensive line, 13 sacks. So, like, just has to be a factor there. I think Notre Dame weapons, like I just said, are a lot better than maybe what they were giving credit for. Jordan Faison, man, he can go a little bit. Kind of popped against Indiana more than he characteristically would. But to know that's there, if you can take advantage of that, paired with a Jaden Greathouse, paired with a Jeremiah Love out of the backfield, maybe move him around, like there is some firepower here for Notre Dame. You only get to use it if Riley Leonard is on his P's and Q's. And quite frankly, like, this is the game that Riley Leonard came to Notre Dame for. Like, you came to Notre Dame, you transferred from Duke, shout out Duke, but like you transferred from a basketball school to a football institution to play against the best competition in America, to have the biggest stage in America, to see what you're about, to help your NFL draft stock to go accomplish what you want to accomplish in the college football sphere. Like, this is that spot for you. It's what you signed up for. Go get it. Go take it. So the prize pick square for Riley Leonard that I think just quite frankly has to be more is 177.5 pass yards is what he's at right now at prizepicks.com. Again, I think they're going to swing a pretty big sword against Georgia and try to maybe take some shots deep to try and loosen up that box a little bit, just my feel on things. So I think, one, it will be not for a lack of trying. I think it will be a thing where they, again, are pretty aggressive, and so I feel good taking the more there. And again, if it's less than there, then Notre Dame's in trouble. Period. Mic drop. The end. Notre Dame's in trouble if they don't have a passing attack downfield. So I cannot wait for this one. A really interesting stylistic matchup here between these 2 quarterbacks and these 2 coordinators, and Mike Denbrock and Mike Bobo. I can't wait for it. Who wins? Us as college football fans. So again, make sure you're locked in. PrizePicks.com. Code HardCount. Get you some free play to work with. Like, I mean, you're going to find $5 walking down the street today. Take that, put it into PrizePicks.com, take your 50 promo, and we'll get after it during this college football playoff run. Appreciate y'all being subscribed. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.